Hello, welcome to Cull the Weak Card Talk. I'm Brobnar89.
I'm Shaka.
This week we will be discussing Sanctum in Dark Tidings. But before we get to that, I have to shout out you, Shaka. Big congratulations on going undefeated in the group stage in KFPL. 12 games, dropping none. So that is no small feat. So big shout out to you.
Thank you.
So if you want to see some of those games, Jupiter and Z have recorded a few of them over on the KFPL channel. So I'll drop a link to that if you want to see Shaka kicking some butt over there.
Yeah, there are lots of great games that we covered as well in the Premier League.
Yeah, if you missed any of those, we have a playlist of our KFPL Season 2 games. So be sure to check those out too. On to Sanctum in Dark Tidings. Couple interesting notes to kick off the week. There does seem to be a bit of a change in the theme of Sanctum that you are noticing, Shaka. They kind of are changing from being a very capture-heavy house to being more of a burst house in this set.
I'm pretty excited about how Sanctum is looking. The cards we're going to go through this week will show a lot of the Amber Burst potential in Sanctum. And Sanctum also still has decent capture mechanics as well. Combined with the big bodies, I think it's really going to be a house to reckon with.
Yeah, Sanctum may be a bit of a sleeper here because, I don't know, there's a lot of hype around Logos and a lot of hype around Unfathomable, but Sanctum's looking pretty solid.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in Sanctum in this set.
Why don't we go ahead and look at our first set of cards that all kind of are following in a similar theme that's going to focus on battle line placement.
Right. The first card we're going to look at in this series is called Harmonic Ritual. It is a rare action, has one amber bonus icon, and it says play, choose a friendly creature. If its left neighbor shares a house with it, gain one and repeat this effect on that creature. In general, I see a lot of the cards that are based on battle line placement and creatures sharing the same house as being beneficial for decks that have a lot of Sanctum creatures, because you can play 3 Sanctum creatures and then Harmonic Ritual, you gain 3 amber. And if you have a larger battle line, you can be gaining even more. One of the issues with Sanctum in older sets was you drop 3 or 4 Sanctum creatures and then you pass your turn and hope you can go back into Sanctum later. This Harmonic Ritual just lets you get a lot of value right away from playing the creatures, and your opponent has to respond to the board.
Yeah, this is definitely going to open up the possibility of getting value out of hand with Sanctum. Also, big potential here for switching into Sanctum after going into your other houses for a few turns. You know, this reads a friendly creature, so it doesn't have to be a Sanctum creature. It can be any house. This could trigger for, 4 or 5.
That's right. This card could fit in a deck that doesn't have many Sanctum creatures for that reason.
And this is a very strong Amber Burst in the age of Infernus. Infernus is going to be able to purge this out, but they'll only be taking away the 1 Amber. So you've netted 3, 4, 5 Amber off of this card.
Right. This card reminds me of Glorious Few, except that this can get you amber when you're winning on the board. So it could put you even farther ahead, like a kind of win more card, whereas Glorious Few could be a catch-up mechanic if they had an overwhelming board. That said, I think Sanctum in this set is going to be more offensively minded, so win more might fit in well with the rest of the cards.
So the next one is Taxing Journey. This is a common action. It has 1 amber pip on it, and it reads, play. A friendly creature captures 1 amber. Each of its neighbors that share a house with it also captures 1 amber. So you can see the similarities here. You're definitely going to want to pay attention to your battle line placement here. Again, this is a friendly creature, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Sanctums. Potentially, you're capturing up to 3 amber with this card. So that could be a pretty big swing. And with the big bodies in Sanctum, as is typical of Sanctum, it could be pretty tricky for your opponent to get that amber back.
Right. I think this is a better version of Terms of Redress, which was a card in Call of the Archons that had an amber pip and said, choose a creature to capture 2. This can capture 3, as you said, and also distributes them on different creatures.
Right.
So your opponent has to put a lot more work in to actually get the amber back. This is a common card too. So this can take people off key from 8.
Yeah, that's pretty big. There's a shift in the meta toward big board play, and this is really going to help make that even more valuable for yourself. Having that big board out is going to be just even better for you.
Right. And this also helps protect you from Axiom of Grisk, which is a very powerful common card. Even though Axiom of Grisk is not reprinted in Dark Tidings, it is a card you see a ton when facing against Saurian. And the ability to protect up to 3 of your creatures from getting hit with that at common level is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Also really makes me wish that Brachus was in this set.
Yeah, when we get to Saurian, we'll look at some cards that do similar things to Senator Brachus.
Okay, there you go, a little teaser.
All right, and then finally we have Grand Melee, which is another common that relies on neighbors being in the same house. Action, play. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors. Kind of the opposite of Groupthink Tank.
Mm-hmm.
So I think early game, this isn't going to do too much because their opponent isn't going to reach a state where they're able to have their creatures surrounded by non-neighbors until the game progresses and creatures are destroyed. Another interesting point about this card is, what does it do when there's only one creature on the board? One creature does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors, so I would think it'd be destroyed.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Another thing this does is set up the battle line so that after you do this, your battle line will tend more toward creatures sharing a house with the neighbor. So you could play this, and then you can get a bigger taxing journey or Harmonic Ritual going.
Benefit yourself by eliminating some of your creatures that are getting in the way of making that happen for you. That's a good point.
Yeah, I also see this as kind of an anti-taunt card. Usually you taunt creatures in another house, so this can hit the creatures that are protected. On the whole, though, this seems a little finicky. We'll have to see how much people play around this card, which I think you can do relatively easily. It's not that difficult to play around Groupthink Tank. Just stacking your cards so that they're next to neighbors and they're therefore unaffected by Grand Melee could make this card not do too much.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely less dangerous than Groupthink Tank, easier to play around.
Yeah.
If you have ready Sanctum creatures on the board, you can also have very specific targeted fights that set up your opponent's battle line to be optimal for you. If your opponent has, say, 2 Star Alliance creatures next to each other and you remove one of them, that second one is now going to be a target for Grand Melee. So you can get extra value.
Exactly. That is a great point. So this is one of those cards that actually makes you want to fight a bit more. I think this could have worked well in Brobnar too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not a massive game swinging board wipe here. I feel like it could have used an Amber Pip and that would have been fine. I mean, there's definitely going to be times where it doesn't really do anything at all, or might even be a discard. All right, well, this is our opening look at Sanctum. Almost a Mars theme here in their drive for being all together. Interesting twist on Sanctum. Looking forward to the rest of the cards this week. This has been Card Talk. Come back tomorrow for another look at another card.